you're done with your first startup, your year one. So let's move on to your second startup.
Yeah.
So did you start your second startup just after closing your first startup?
No, I'm living a co-op. So first startup officially closed around end of summer, year one. Next startup I started summer of year two, June 10th, 2023.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how did you start it? Basically, for the startup, you need a co-founder, right?
Correct.
You look for.
So I was actually one of the guys out of the other three.
Oh, okay. So basically, one of your previous startups.
Yeah.
Why did you choose him? Because you're like last time you told us that your goals weren't aligned at the time, and so why that guy?
I think it is a lot more about who you can have an honest conversation with. I think one thing I really value is honesty. So you don't want a sycophant. You don't want a yes man who will just agree with everything you say. You want someone who has their own critical thought process, who's smart. Ideally, someone who's smarter than you. You can always learn from, and you want to work with people who are smarter than you, and someone who challenges you, who brings a complementary skill set, who is as dedicated to the mission as you are, right? Whatever mission you mutually set out to accomplish. And so one is I prefer having smaller teams of at least founding members. So I think 2 is perfect for me. What I realized is lesser people you have to keep in the loop. And he was one of the people who I really gel with. So the previous startup didn't work out because I think no one knew what to do. But he was one of the people I gleaned to be very, very, at least well-informed in a way I like about the world, about business.
And also,
So,
your technical background, right? Your engineering faculty.
yeah.
So, your co-founder is business background.
No, he also engineer.
Oh, he's also engineering background.
Yeah.
So, why don't we go for like 2 co-founders, both engineering background, instead of like, let's take one technical person and one business person. It's like a perfect combo. You have a technical person, you have a business person. So, like one person with a technical knowledge, like in a depth, and business person with a technical, like business knowledge in depth. What do you?
In my experience, I think I think it's more about diversity of thought. I would say, as long as people might have the same stream of education, but their past experiences inform them to have different thoughts, complementary thoughts, and I think business a lot of times, I think it's more of a soft skill than I think it is a hard skill. It's a lot about the character and disposition and other skills, like other factors, endogenous factors you bring into let's say a business. So I don't think being an engineer particularly make you a bad businessman. In fact, I think it makes you a better businessman. And yeah, so
also one more thing, as we're talking about the business stuff, like knowing about the business things and everything about the startups.
Yeah.
What do you think is the best way to learn about startups? Do you think like those degrees, people who are, studying for 4-5 years, grinding hard in studying finance, economic and all other, finance stuff? Or do you think this is the better way, like start your own firm, start your own stuff?
Yeah, the better.
And then...
Okay, I don't think it matters what you study in university particularly, because first of all, there's no end to studying. I think people think, oh, I'll study for 4 years, I'll study for 6 years, I'll study for 10 years. I stopped studying at some point in my life after I'm done with my undergrad, my master's, my PhD, and then I go work. I think that's a misconception. Every day I'm on the job, I'm probably learning like 5 few things, right? About many. So the thing about being a business owner is you have to be, I think to some extent, a good generalist as well, because you're running many different functions in your business. You're running the finance department, the accounting department, the sales, the marketing, the product, the legal. And so you kind of have to, and also you're mediating the interaction between all of these departments. So you have to be a good connector. You have to be a good generalist. Yeah. So, and I think it's all about doing.
Also, one more thing is, you previously talked about that and none of your co-founders didn't know any Cantonese or the local language in Hong Kong. And your startup is based in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So why will you get any Chinese co-founder instead of your co-founder is from India?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
why not?
I think just he's a really good friend. So I think there was always a chemistry thing, and also I think it's just very similar background. So it was very I think there's in my experience I think there are a couple of people who are very very startup oriented, but many people in university they're really swayed by experiences of they look at the fancy job title and they're like, I want to be a corporate person for many years, and then I want to make the leap, the plunge. I was very I was very early in the process of taking the plunge of an entrepreneurship or whatever. So it's always been finding people, like-minded people is a little tough, I would say, especially because it's not like I have connections with people who are very very old when I initially came, and you have to have come on with the same amount of, I would say, naivete as you. Like you want someone who is as open to trying out new things as you are. If let's say I got someone very very seasoned who's been in the industry for 15 years or 20 years on board, first of all they would come on board with me as an unaccomplished entrepreneur who has no track record. But if let's say by some stroke of luck or some grace of God or whatever, I got someone on board, it would be very difficult for them, because at some point you have very formed systems of thinking. Like I have a particular, I know this works, I know this doesn't work. And then if you think something doesn't work, you'll just discard it. I think a lot of times what real entrepreneurship comes down to is just pushing something so hard that it starts working. Because if you're the most rational person, you just be like, this is why you're doing this. It's incredibly irrational to try to reinvent the wheel. And you might say, oh, there's 10% improvement in this existing service or something. And a lot of people who are very experienced have established that, this doesn't work. Let me not even think about it. And sometimes it just takes you to think about something that already exists in a very different way. So that kind of was the way I got in touch with Aman. I think we share that worldview as well. It's tough to find people like that. And so if you do, you should stick to them and stick really close to them. Right?
Yeah. I guess you are kind of lucky that you got your, co-founder.
I think that we did. I think that I believe.
So let's dive your second startup in D. So would you mind telling us what your startup does in 2 sentences, like in a short?
Sure.
In a short way, like what does a startup does?
So we started off as a software services company, which is a very undifferentiated industry. We wanted to just capture a very small chunk of a very large market, which is the outsourcing and this industry. We wanted to do labor arbitrage, and then it slowly morphed into now having product verticals. So we've used some of the cash flow from our services business and put it into building self-contained products.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's dive into how did you start it? Your first MVP was providing software solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you explain in lame basic language, because our viewers might be someone who is in Excel, they have no idea about.
Be an engineer.
Yeah, guys, be an engineer.
Yeah. So why software? And what am I doing exactly?
Yeah, like in a lame language, like someone who have no idea about what software is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why software? I think software has a low upfront capital investment. It's not like I had the money to set up a manufacturing line or anything like that. I think software is one of those businesses that has the marginal cost of distribution of a piece of software is close to zero. That means if I create a software today and I sell it to you, and then I have to go and sell it to the second person, the cost of me to sell it to the second person is basically negligible, right? And so I think there's a lot of scale advantages if I build a software. And so all of these things considered, I wanted to start a business that essentially helps other businesses build software. So we started off with stuff as simple as websites. And at the start, you were very, very undifferentiated. We said we can do anything. You tell us what you want, we come and do for you. So start off with stuff like websites.
So basically, you guys have no proper focus here.
Yeah, we didn't.
This guys come
intentionally so. It's not a good thing. I think you eventually learn that you want to capture a niche in the market and dominate that niche in something. So that's what we learned, and we've applied it to the products we're building, which are niches that are underserved, and we want to automate things. So we started off by building stuff as simple as website, and we've slowly gone up the value chain to building bigger custom software projects, AI, ML, data pipelining, stuff like that. CRMs.
What CRM is? Like, can you explain us?
Customer relation management.
Oh, okay. And so let's, when you started your startup, and how do you get your first client?
So the way I got my first client is just raw persistence. So we did everything we could. We got into Science Park. It doesn't help a lot, actually. There's a lot of problems with that. But anyway, we went to networking events organized by Science Park. We emailed every single startup in Science Park from every publicly available. I think we emailed close to 3,000 people before we got 2 meetings. We messaged everyone on LinkedIn every day. I would exhaust my daily limits. I think we got like 2 or 3 meetings at the end of all of that. And then we realized there's a lot of mistakes we did. So what we ended up doing is we took the meetings. We eventually almost converted one, and I think it fell apart in the end moment. So that was a big bummer. And then eventually we met a person at a networking event, and we were kind of able to convince him that this is something worth pursuing. He had an idea, but he didn't know how to technically execute the idea. And so we gave him a lot of extra, let's say, research on how he could do it. He crafted a very good proposal that went into a lot of depth of exactly what we would do, step by step, timelines, pricing, and we did a lot of extra work for him. And we said, a lot of people, another service provider would just build this for you and try to minimize the amount of work it took them. We will go the extra mile. We will help you market it, distribute it. He was building like a legal tech product. We went to the court even to research stuff, right? Visited the court, found out how the exact procedures worked, how we can do some like form automation for them or whatever. And so, yeah.
So how was your pricing strategy? Like, you able it fixed, or you like, it will depend on how successful our project would be. Will help with your business, will help you.
So it was fixed. It was always fixed. I think a lot of people in Hong Kong, they would like a fixed cost. I think most people it becomes very, very compelling or very, very hard for them to have like a pricing strategy where you're pricing it like on a per hour basis. I'd much rather have a fixed cost in my mind, because at the per hour basis, it's like, let's say, I helped your company to solve a particular problem. Yeah, you help that guy to build his startup, MVP market. I give him a fixed loans.
Yeah, so you had a fixed cost. Like, instead of fixed cost, what if you tell that guy, hey, we'll be that startup and we did all this stuff for you, and amount of, let's say, when your profit we make, we'll get like 10%, 5%.
That's doable, but
because he has just an idea.
To be honest, I think at that point, and to this day, actually, if you're running a business, cash flow is very important. So one is, do you really believe in the founder? Right? Do you believe in his ability to really distribute this product? And if he got customers, he distributed it well, I'd be like, yeah, I truly believe in your product. And I build this for you, and I'll take a hit on the money I earn as a fixed cost. Like, I only take 50% of X amount, which is the normal fixed cost. And the other, how you can pay me back, is in a percentage of the proceeds of revenue, right? 20% of revenue, 5% or whatever. One is, will there ever be revenue in this product, right? So you have to truly believe in the founder's dedication to this product. And number 2, what is the timeline? Because if I need to still pay my employees today. So if I say at some future date, you give me 5% of the revenue, and the product takes 2 years to get to whatever revenue where it is sustainable for me to pay people, right? So
like a unique cash flow at that time,
right.
To as an incentive to your, an employer. So basically, okay, at that time, did you had any employee, or were you only 2 guys, you and co-founder?
No, I had 2 employees, a graphic designer and a full stack developer.
Basically, did you hire them like initially, or after getting a first client?
Yeah.
After getting a first client?
Yeah.
So for your first client, you had like 4 guys working on the program of the first client?
Yeah, we had a bunch of people in Beirut, which was the people who I took help of to, get emails, send them out, stuff like that. So yeah, five.
So like, what's the BD? Can you explain to our audience?
Business level.
Oh, okay.
To audience or to where?
Well, to me as well, I have some idea about that.
Yeah.
BD, because in India, BD,
Audience knows A+. Keep giving A+ to.
there's professors, working so hard. It's two-way and right now, and
It is actually.
yeah, it is actually, it's a lot of time. So yeah,
Yes, the beautiful part of the podcast where Mapan River. The last away.
I have some questions written in my pad, like, cause I might forget some important questions to art.
So let's wrap this up really quick.
Yeah, because it's been a lot of time. Okay, so basically the thing is, a lot of people always start with something novel idea, some unique idea. They're like, they get some crazy idea.
Yeah.
But you started in an industry which is already, crowded. A lot of people already they are already, providing software services. And how do you even think of that?
Deliberately. No, go on, complete your.
Yeah. So basically, how do you think at that time that, how you gonna differentiate yourself from other market, players who are in the market?
I didn't. It was very intentional to start in that industry. We felt like such a big industry that even if I get a 0.001% share, that's probably still a sustainable company right there. So the idea was there's enough demand, there's enough of a labor arbitrage thing we can do by outsourcing to India. Like, I'm from India. I think it's good tech. There's a very good IT industry over there. There's a lot of people, high quality talent coming out of universities that we could hire. And we were sitting in Hong Kong, right? So that was always the idea. And we slowly started building out a tech services department in India. So the idea was always to be a little more undifferentiated, to be a little more broad. And then I think we're two capable problem solvers, my co-founder and I. And so the idea was we just understand what you're trying to solve and then come up with a custom solution that could fit you. And so it's not scalable. And that's a problem that we hit very soon. And so that's when we came up with the idea of building more scalable products that are more deployable.
Yeah. So basically, you all the employees that you hired were from India. Yeah. So it's like, did you hire them like intensely from India? It was like cheap labor cost. You're selling the product in Hong Kong. Is like a Hong Kong and India currency gap and everything. You can sell it for, let's say, 10x, then you would sell it in India. Yeah. So, okay. So when did you realize that this is not scalable? Like, after how many clients? Like, after first client only, or working for like 4 or 5 clients?
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you come up to the second idea? So basically, I went to your website. Okay, so first time I went to your website, I searched the Voltera on the Google, and on the first website, the first link was some different website, some different company was selling really, really different stuff than you.
Yeah.
And to search up to your company, I had to go like third port. It's like fourthly.
Yeah.
So it's like really hard to locate you on Google. So why did you choose Voltera? Like, why not any other name?
Or just something.
Huh? Oh, it's a random name.
Yeah. So we were about to close our first client. And one night before that, we didn't have a name for a company. And so we're like, what sounds really good to say? We were registering a company one night before we closed up our plan because we didn't want to send the money to register a company. So we came up with this name that sounded really cool to us. So it really doesn't mean anything deep, but I like the name.
Voltera.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times, a lot of founders, they name their company, like the name, sometimes it tells you what the company does sometimes. Like, a lot of founders try to do that.
Correct.
So why? So now, do you think you should have named your company something different instead of Voltera?
I like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I respect your decision. And then, yeah. So let's go to the investor part. So, when did you realize that, okay, you need to, get some funding? Or other than grants, you got some guys.
I don't want to raise funding.
Oh, so basically you want to stay bootstrap.
As long as possible. I think there's a lot of trade-offs that you do when you raise funding, right? I think first of all, having the correct investor on board is super important. Secondly, do you really take what percentage of company dilution are you going to go through to get, let's say, equity funding, or if you're doing debt funding, what is the return that is expected of you that your company has to generate? Are you putting a debt load on your company, or if you're raising equity, do you want this person on your cap table, right?
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of considerations in terms of, and do you need financing? Is this a good time to get financing? Are you just getting financing because it's cheap in the market right now? The rates of interest are low. And so a lot of people are just throwing money around. So let's say 2021, or let's say right now even to some extent, the AI hype cycle is very, very strong. So if I project myself, if I build a few AI products and I project myself as an AI company, it becomes easier for me to raise funding. Do you want to raise funding? In the long run, I don't really want to. I think if it comes to it, if I really need some money to finance my operations today, then I would. But at this point, it's become that the services arm of our business is what we call a cash cow. We wanted to generate money that we can then siphon off and put into different projects slowly.
So do you want to elaborate on how, what kind of projects? Okay, so basically you're still running your software business, like service business, software service.
Yeah, slowly. I mean, we wean it off over time. How to wean it off, reduce the...
So what percentage is your software and what percentage is your product, like your new business model?
Yeah, so our second product is almost out. So right now, I think it's 60-40. I would say 60 in terms of 60% is product. I think 40% services. I would probably bring it down to 10 or 20. I think it is a very nice way to get in touch with businesses. Just provide them with a quick service, which is a very low ticket item sale, which is something that's low cost. And then eventually, when they're comfortable with you, they know what you're working, you kind of pitch them a bigger ticket value product, right? Something like that.
So it's like giving them, solving a small problem is easy to get companies on board.
Yeah.
And it was. Yes. So, what kind of products you are working on? What kind of, do you just, so what I'm looking at the other side. Yeah. Then I went to the services part, and then there were 8 to 10 different sections.
Yeah.
And in each section, there were 5 to 6 different things. So it's it's taking 40 to 50 different, stuff. You're okay. It's not a niche. It's really
intentionally broad. We have a couple of competency. I can't say the word.
Couple of fairly, you can't affect me as well from Haryana.
A couple of let's say strong points. I think we intentionally kept it a little broad. I think our strong points are a lot of Gen AI stuff. So we're good at integrating that into existing systems. We're good at digital transformation. We're good at business process automation. So these are the 2 or 3 things that we're really, really good at.
So basically, you are integrating AI with the business. Exactly. You will come traditional existing business who are there, who want to know AI to be integrated in their old business.
Yeah.
So they come to you, and then you help them, integrating business into their...
Correct.
And into integrating AI into their business.
Yep.
So I have a question there. Why would they come to you? Why wouldn't they set up their own AI team? Because, let's say you help them set up their AI whole system into making AI into their business. Then, they will need to reach out to you again and again. Let's say if they face some issue or anything they do to the system that you've been,
So we provide post-deployment maintenance as well. For 1 month, it's usually free of charge. And then after that, we charge them for an annual maintenance fee, some percentage of the contract value. Why? And first of all, we ensure that there's no bug fixing. So even the last stage of our product development cycle is just bug fixing. So yeah. So we ensure that it's a clean application before deployment. Obviously, if it's a rapidly changing industry, if there's a lot of new stuff coming out and you require changes constantly, you might require us. But that's the same thing, right? You would have an AI team in-house. First of all, you would require them. And I think it's like, do you want to hire an AI team that you have to keep on the payroll, you have to pay benefits for, or you have to, you have to have insurance benefits, you have to have a lot of other benefits you have to provide to a team that you're in-housing in Hong Kong, let's say, or even in India. Let's say you hire someone full-time. You have to ensure that you have enough work for them. for you can't just hire them for 3 months and then lay them off, right? You probably have to outsource it for 3 months, get contract labor, get the job done, implement it. And technically, it's about expertise. At some point, it's like, do you really want to run another organization and sub-organization in your business? Or do you just want to have people come in, do it for you, deploy it for you, and then just step out of the way?
Does that make sense? Yeah. It makes sense, completely makes sense. So, AI is, so basically you integrate AI into the business. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. So, like, you use, APIs, Google's Gemini's, OpenAI APIs, like third-party APIs. Though,
APIs host the open source model on our own as well on the cloud.
Okay. And then, so, like sometimes your business kind of, dependent on these third-party apps. So let's say if they change their, pricing or something, they increase the pricing because, they are the market dominator right now. They increase their pricing, they, let's say, shut down everything. Or let's say they come themselves and they provide their solutions. So what are you going to do at that time?
Okay, so,
a trade or a company coming down, hitting you.
Yeah, but they're in the business of making foundational models. They're not in the application layer, right? At the end of the day, it's like it comes down to the same thing with Light, right? Which is the tech company I spoke to you about earlier. That's my old company. You can't do everything. So either they can be really, really good at foundation models and provide that as a service, or they can be really, really good at applications, right? And so I think the application layer is where a lot of value will be unlocked, not necessarily by OpenAI or by Anthropic, but by a lot of other companies who are using their models to then build upon. And technically with the pricing, I think AI as a market is very competitive. So it's like you have a lot of new entrants, the Chinese companies, DeepSeek, Alibaba, and you also have a lot of US companies. And some of them have adopted open source, some of them are closed source. So by naturally open sourcing your models, you're kind of commoditizing that layer of information. And so, and you're like, I think DeepSeek is 100x or something lower price than, or I don't know the exact.
Yeah, I think it's
30, 40x or whatever.
So do you use DeepSeek?
Yeah.
Are you planning to use DeepSeek?
No, I already do. A lot of different. So not only that, like you can always post your own models. And at the end of the day, it's like, let's say you have a custom data set that you want to pre-train a model on. So you can completely do that as well. You can have, I don't know. So we're slowly getting into building our own models for businesses as well. So that's what we're working on.
AI models with the data set that you have.
Correct. With custom data sets, with custom weights, custom, I don't know, so methods.
So can you tell me, I need, you have worked with a lot of clients till now. I read on a is like 40, 50 clients around till now. So was there any client, but to understand, was there any client, where, you gave your 100%, but the client was not, satisfied and you kind of, lost that client and you kind of failed providing the expected value, the promised value that you promised to that guy?
Actually, no. So we usually, if we say we're going to do some amount of code, let's say X, we usually end up delivering 120% of X or 130%. Then usually we end up going the extra mile just to ensure that the client is happy. So if I promise you the scope, I think that's not necessarily the most scalable thing, but it's something I love doing because it's one of those things that I don't care if it's sales or not. It's just about service quality. As long as you're happy, and if you're not happy with me, I will do extra stuff until you're happy with me.
Oh, but with the workers so hard, let's say you want to scale, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's possible where you have, small clients, there's a small number of clients. Let's say you're scaling, you're providing submission to thousands of clients.
Yeah.
Then, do you think that would be, implementable? And how? Also,
I don't see. That's what I'm saying. So this is what I mean by some impracticality that comes in with people who are a little crazy. A rational person will always say, "No, of course not." I would also say it's probably not. But I think that's where the alpha is. It's can you go out of your way still to then go and say, I promised you 100, but I'll give you 110, right? It's like, is it practically implementable? Will it cost me a little bit extra to go and do that extra? Yeah, yes, it will. It's fine. I'll take a hit. But if you're so happy that this guy went the extra mile for you, aren't you more, let's say, likely in the future to come back? One, aren't you more likely in the future to refer some of your friends too? So yeah.
So, what's the retention rate? Like, how many clients are still working with you?
So if it's a one-off contract where it's a business that requires digital transformation, it's usually, it's like, it's a one and done type of thing. But they're very happy to refer us to people. So our referral rates are pretty high. And you really go the extra mile. So I think your retention rates are also pretty decent, probably like 90%.
How many projects are you working on like right now at the moment? Like currently, actually, what's the average?
Average for the past couple of months has been like 9 concurrently running projects plus our own product that is being built. So it's very, very hard for me to not have an efficient team. And then like if you don't have an team, you're really, really... Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that. Fund house. Yeah.
So yeah.
So, what kind of product are you building? Okay, we understood basically product is like you're already integrating AI. Okay, my bad. And
no, that's not the product. The product is we built actual SaaS products. So software as the service product. So essentially, if you go online and you buy a recurring subscription to some sort of service. So one of our products is
explain the kind of name language, basically.
So just a SaaS product is anything software as a service is the full form. So anything where you're renting software off the internet, like off the anywhere. So if you've ever paid a monthly subscription to any service, that's the SaaS product.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like must be anything, Netflix.
So is this your second business model? Was it your older business model?
So my older business, my core business is services, and then there are a bunch of products now that we're launching, which are SaaS products, which are you can just buy that as a standalone product. And then we deploy it for you.
It's kind of confusing for me. So let's say let's say I'm an investor. And you're just in the 30 seconds or 1 minute to explain to me what your company does, what's your business model, and what are your core values. What are those business?
Yeah.
You are trying to solve. So how would you say that in the 60 seconds?
So the services business is intentionally vague. That's one arm of our business, and that is helping businesses to BPO, business process automation, BPA. We're doing digital transformation, and we're doing a lot of Gen AI stuff, right? Custom firmware, that kind of stuff. So it's like having someone on board who will implement something that you already have an idea or you want to build, but you don't have the resource for it. The other arm of our business is a lead generation product, which is essentially we're doing lead generation for other businesses through AI generated lead generation system. Essentially,
what's a lead?
Lead generation is businesses that require new leads or new
insights. What could they do in the future?
Not insights. New potential clients that they can then convert into being paying customers, right? So getting them potential clients and then helping them convert those clients into more new business, new sales.
Well, how do you do that? Like, do you integrate AI in that? So, your things right now, so software as a service,
correct,
and then
software as a service. This is a software as a service. This is a software as a service. Yeah. So we build a product around lead generation.
Oh, okay. So you build one product.
So one is a service. Okay. One is a lead generation arm, and now the third product that we're building is it's a company secretarial software. So these are the three broad things. This services arm is intentionally broad thing. So it's not really particularly like a product. That's why you might think it's a lot of things, but at one given time, I'm not doing everything. I'm just doing what my client asked of me.
Okay.
And imagine just having a team of software engineers who you can ask to do whatever, XYZ. So imagine that as a service offering.
Yeah. It's like one shop, you're all in one. You can, anything that you could software, you can just go and your problems will be solved. Okay. This is your software thing. So what's the next one? Lead generation.
Correct.
So did you build one product which works for every company?
Correct.
Oh, so you built the one product, and is it like an AI model which is trained on any data sets?
Lots of data.
So do you train it on the company's data as well? You get the
yeah.
Okay.
We've aggregated a lot of data.
So for example, you find in the model according to the data, many gigabytes of data.
Yeah.
You find in the model that you already have with the data of the, let's say I as a company, I come to you as a business, I need to get...
No, not really that.
Do I have to give you some data? Like, what do I need to give you?
We need to what your ICP is, ideal customer profile. So what does your customer look like? You come and tell me that. We have a lot of data that we gather from the internet. We scrape it. We have custom data sets, and we have approximately like 200 million individuals and like 30 million businesses, something like that, something to that number of like individual data points that just companies and businesses. And on that, we added a lot of additional context. So we indexed the data with a bunch of geographic location, geographic information, company size, headcount, growth over year on year, what kind of technology are you using if you're finance, there's a lot of this is publicly available, what kind of people work in your organization, what the allocation of the people is, what a particular person is doing in the company, what their email ID is. And then what we've done is we've taken all of this data, aggregated it, and we're allowing you to choose a very hyper-personalized target audience that then we can do cold email outreach to. So it's a lead generation product, do cold email.
So how does what's the what's the success rate? Let's say you
And 1 to 10%.
Okay, so only how many people you usually email or reach out to?
This week we are probably doing like 200,000 on the up of other than our plans.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you just cold emails?
Yeah.
And
hyper-personalized cold email, not templatized one, but we really understand the context of the recipient, what they're doing, what their business is, what their past life is, what their history is, what our business does. I mean, our client business, what they're doing, and why they want to reach out, what they want to sell, and then we try to find synergies, and then we reach out.
Like hyper-personalized, so that I don't need to go to the history of the client and anything, and then
it's just you just set up a campaign, and then it automatically does it for you. Schedules the email, sends them, ensures they reach the inbox, the primary inbox of the other person.
Do you think at like any other computer, just any other computer?
So there are people who do it manually, and there are people who do it in a templatized way. We're the first company, in my belief, that does it in a.
It's like or bulk way proper.
No. It's templatized. Yeah, in a bulk way. We're very, very. I think no one does it particularly, and no one does it to the level we do it. No one does it with the amount of data we have. 200 million unique individuals you can reach out to all around the globe, right? So if you're a company in Hong Kong selling to companies in US, we have like 20 million, probably like 10 million businesses in the US. I mean, I'm coming with that number.
So thing is, as far as I can understand, so if like this product is like something which is not in the market, not easily available in the market, not a lot of people are doing this. Why not you triple down on this thing? So you are like 3 different categories in your business. Yeah, instead of doing this, and these 3 different things, why not you focus on one thing and double down, triple down on this thing? Just be a company. Okay, business come to us and we give them leads. It's like only focusing on one thing.
Yeah, right. I think there's some natural constraints to this type of business. You can slowly, organically grow it, but the target market, the number of people you can probably service on this business will peak out at probably about, I'll say, like 15 million ARR USD. So that's the upper limit of this market.
Right. It's like whole market.
Is it this kind of product? Like, based on a bunch of assumptions, you can come to that rate, right? So, you don't want to shut off the other parts of the business. And my dream has always been to run many, many businesses, many products at the same time. That doesn't mean I don't want to individually focus on every single product. Like right now, so for the last 1 year or so, we were heavily focusing on this lead generation product. And so at some point, I realized that I've gotten product market fit. I can establish all the processes in the business and then just step out and just scale it by hiring people to run this as a containerized unit in my business. Right?
So what's his month-on-month growth rate?
Month-on-month growth rate. This month I haven't calculated it, but yeah, we're doubling right now, I think.
Doubling every month.
Yeah. So a lot. It's very obviously not sustainable in the long run, but I think for the next couple of months, at least the next sometime, I see it happening like this. And then I think it'll eventually peak out at some point.
So, what do you think? How much revenue you're gonna generate from this business? Like, what's the lifetime value of this whole category? Like, I'll be speaking.
15 million ARR
Okay, it's like what you can make. Not I like
revenue.
okay. It's like
What I can make. No, I mean, the market is a huge market.
yeah. Then
I mean, this product probably, it becomes very hard to service businesses at some point, and then there's a lot of constraint to it. I think you can scale it past that. I just think there aren't that many, like it's cold emailing at the end of the day. So at some point, bigger businesses don't really cold email because they have a marketing team. So it's usually, there's a set of natural constraints you hit, which is like the size of the firm at some point starts mattering. There's only that many firms. There's only that much marketing budget they can allocate to this. There's only that many cold emails you can send. So let's say I have competing interests. I have two companies who operate in the same industry trying to cold email the same recipient. There's a bunch of natural constraints you will hit, which you cannot possibly serve someone, or you don't want to, right? You don't want to have two of your clients trying to target the same customer. That's counterintuitive, right? So yeah.
do you target a business? Okay, what's your target customer? Ideal customer. What's your ideal customer profile in this business, like lead generation business? Okay, for recipe, are these the businesses who are targeting other business, basically business whose customer is a business, like a B2B business?
Yeah, of course. But
or like a B2C.
B2B businesses operating in industries that are agnostic to the type of client they service. So it's businesses that have a very large surface area of potential industry they can service. Like a marketing firm doesn't really care if they're servicing a manufacturing company or a service company or any other kind of company, right? It is going to provide marketing services. So services firms are a great fit. Industry agnostic, customer agnostic companies are also a great pick. So what kind of customers they have doesn't really matter. It's just like they're providing a service. Those types of companies usually fit the bill very, very well.
Okay. And then let's talk about the third category. So first was software service, second was the lead generation.
No, first was software servicing.
Okay, it was like basically you're providing solutions to the
Correct. Software solution. That part of software solution.
software solutions, lead generation, and then third is SaaS, like software or something.
No. Third is company secretarial software.
Okay, what's that?
So that one of the product verticals we're going to be launching this month. It's something I've been diverting my time to do for the past couple of months, like 4 months now, I think. And what that is essentially we're trying to build entity governance and management software. So company secretaries are in charge of managing client communications between companies and the government. So they are essentially the intermediary. And by Hong Kong law, every single company is mandated to have a company secretary. So we're building a suite of software services that will allow them, company secretaries, to manage their clients more easily. So document generation, invoicing, deadline management. So documents usually expire, right? Your annual returns, your incorporation certificates, your change of registered address, director, change of, I don't know. You might have shareholder package change. You might have selling of something. So you disclose all of these things to the government, right? If there's a substantive change in your company structure or anything like that. So company secretaries are managing all this on behalf of their clients, which are companies in Hong Kong. There are about 1.4 million companies in Hong Kong. There's
basically it's like registering to a company secretary. Sure. Is it keep using in the future? Do you plan to replace the company secretary? Like
yeah. I mean, not already got to be replaced. You still need to have a person by law, but we plan to make their work closer to that. Like it just then becomes prompting our system to then generate expected responses. Right now, it's very manual, very time-assuming, very labor-intensive work. So we don't want that to team in guess.
So is there any other solutions for those guys?
So it's a very niche market. We purposely picked a niche market. Even with lead generation, the type of market we're working with is it's a sleepy market, not very tech-powered. So both industries that we're working on as products, that was obvious by design. By design, we've picked the services vertical to be a little broad, so we can correspond with a lot of businesses. When you talk to a lot of businesses, you get better ideas about what you want to develop. And then when we take some of these insights, you start developing products that are serving a very small niche market. Because you ideally want to dominate that market, get 100% of the market share, and solve a really big problem for a really small group of people, as opposed to solving a really small problem for a really big group of people. So this is then you're everybody, you're everything to some small group of people, as opposed to being something for a very bad group of people, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it actually makes sense. So basically, you started as a broad, your focus was so broad, and now you are, as the time passing, and you are not going
because
each and each.
I take time to get market insight in my experience.
But the thing is, most of the companies I've seen, I had, all the case studies I've read, companies,
They start just trap the
small, and then when they, get funding and everything, when they, get product market, pretty good each market, and then they would just get broad.
So the idea is you become narrow, you dominate this market, and then you start building support services to become broad account. So ideally, I want to capture this market completely and then provide them with many, many more services.
So the same market, you do the same.
Correct. So with secretarial software, you can then always build governance software, you can build entity management software, you can build accounting software integrations like, Xero is an accounting software or something like that. You can have lots of plugins that directly, so you can always expand your scope and be more than that. Same with lead generation. With lead generation, you can then go to lead nurturing as a software, and you can help with CRMs. There's a lot of natural vertical extensions of a software that operate in the same sector, and then we can expand from there again. The idea was software services just keeps the light on. It's a very broad offering because we just want to have something running in the background where we can ensure utilization of our engineers. If we feel like our engineers are very utilized this week or this month with existing product development in our products, then we don't allow them to, we don't take more projects on board. We just service existing ones. So it's always like just a baseline amount of resource utilization you maintain with services.
So basically, we are going broad, niche, and then broad. Also, one more thing. I have one more question. Another question is like another follow up. When you started this startup, when you started this business, did you had a thought in your mind? Did you already knew, okay, you know what, I'm going to start broad and then I'm going to get some, insights into the business and I'm going to go niche and then I'm going to again go broad? Or as a kind person, you get to know about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's like at the time you get to know, oh, okay, business are coming, they are telling you their problem they're having, and then sometime you get some business and then you see, oh, it's like a market gap. It's a good opportunity for me. I then solve this problem, for this business, for like all the business in that category, and that's your niche product right now.
Yeah.
So, how did you get this niche product? Like how?
Just speaking to our businesses.
Why this one specific?
When you do a services business, you get a lot of insight on what kind of services are being offered in the marketplace, what the problems of the people are, and once in a while you get a very good insight, a novel insight that you can act on.
And what's you gonna be pricing strategy for the third product?
We'll have to discover the price over time. So there's a function of how much value you're providing, how irreplaceable you are, and what is the max. So at the end of the day, it's like I want to maximize my profit and the user wants to minimize their expenses. So at some point the prices will convert where we feel like we're offering a really good price for the value we're providing, and they feel like they're getting a really good value for the price. And so there's a natural convergence. So you try a bunch of different prices. Usually you start a little bit lower than you could, and then you feel like, oh wow, we could probably charge it like a little bit higher, and you go a little bit higher, right? That's how we just do organic price discovery. And then you add more features. Let's say you're adding more value, you can probably charge a little bit more. So
like the
natural cycle,
correct? Cycle and cycle. Yeah. Cycle. So also, what do you is this gonna be like a fixed cost or a subscription based model? How do you wanna charge?
Yeah, subscription
based, and also how you gonna reach the businesses? What's your plan on how you gonna reach your first client? Because now you have experience, you have a lot of experience getting the first client in your first startup, and now in this startup as well you have two different categories. For those categories you have reached your first client, different clients. Yeah, you have more than 50-60 clients.
Correct.
And so for this startup, according to the learnings that you had from all the previous work you done, how you gonna approach, how you gonna find that one client?
So for this one, I think the advantage is that it's a very defined customer. I know exactly so there's company secretary is my customer. I know that there are X amount of there are like I would say 200 company secretary, 200 PR company secretaries in Hong Kong. So I could just approach those people. And I think I've spoken to enough secretaries now before product development that I know the exact problem. And I'll go up to them and I'll say, this is the problem I'm solving for you. And this is the solution. And I'll demo the product. So that's what I'm saying. Earlier when I said there's a very big difference between showing a slide deck about a potential problem that you will solve and having a product that actually solves it. And that is literally the difference of night and day, 0 and 1. So I just go and I present the solution to them. And I say, this is something I'm really solving. You are the first customer. It might not be a perfect product. We were open to feedback and iterating on your feedback. But yeah, if you're interested and if this is something that will significantly benefit you, just use it, right?
So you're a street providing software solutions. Let's say some other business come to you and you take, let's say, 1 or 2 projects. You got to know, this problem is like really big problem to those some particular business in that particular category. So
correct.
Do you again go to solve that problem? And that's just like really exciting, and then like it's like a really big market.
Yeah.
Will you again take a leap and then have a four?
Not right now. So I think it's always about pacing yourself correctly. Like when I told you services, we tried for some time, we were doing it, but you have to first get product market fit, ensure that this process is scalable, and then slowly step out of the business. Not completely, you never completely step out of the business, but you can't take too many bets because then you're doing too many things and not doing anything, right? Yeah. Take one bet at a time, do it very, very well, ensure that you've gotten it to a place where you're comfortable, then slowly recede away. And if an idea is so big that you can spend your entire lifetime doing it, that's great. I don't think I've found that idea yet, where the problem is so big and so expanding that I can spend 10 years doing it and I will still be doing it, or 20 years doing it and still be doing it.
So basically, you are like, you will find the niche problem, you will work
by
your product, and then develop, that's gonna go stick at the time, and then after some time, it's, it's not gonna grow. And then you just leave it, and then it's gonna apply any new problem.
Something a night video, I think every product has an expiry date, not particularly unless you keep like updating it, right? The idea is, at some point, if these are the amount of company secretaries in Hong Kong, that is the total customer set. But if people realize that this is a product that is worth making, you might have a new entrant in the market and you might have to iterate and come up with new features. And also company secretaries might say, this is not sufficient. I want XYZ extra sum. So it's not like that's the end of the problem. It's more like you've solved a core problem. Now you have to solve it better and solve a bigger problem. Let's say you solve a small subset of a problem. You might have to expand the circle of things you're solving, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. So one more thing, let's use, you're saying that you need to get clarity about this. Yes, sir. So basically you're saying, the market, or let's say the peak when you're gonna, the revenue, let's say, gonna go peak, right? Were you planning to, sell the business at that time? Let's say you see, what? I don't know, honestly. I'll see what you just like. What's the peak of Voltera Group next 5 years? Where do you see your business?
Bigger. And
what's the size?
I don't. Bigger. I don't got committed to anything.
Okay. And you're okay. So do you think after 5 years you're still gonna be working on these ideas, or you might be working on a different idea?
Yeah, I think I've taken a long-term bet, so I will be working on this. But I think safe to say, it will be a more sophisticated version of what I'm doing now, right? Otherwise, what's the point? And yeah.
Also, let's say, you have now a lot of experience, working in the startup industry and entrepreneurship. Let's say right now you are just a beginner, and you have all those ideas. Yeah. So down to earth, guys. He's not a beginner, guys. So experienced. Yeah. So you have a lot of experience. Let's say, leave those Voltera Group and everything aside. If you have to start any new business right now, what you gonna start?
What would I start?
Yeah, today other than Voltera Group. Yeah, today. Let's say you have a capital of 1 crore, which is around $1 million.
I think it's important to pick the correct market to begin a business in. But I think what really comes down to it is, I think pick an industry that has good tailwinds. Tailwinds as in things going for it. I think technology has always been an interesting business for me because it's something that permeates everything, every other business. It's a rapidly evolving industry. It's not a boring, sleepy old industry. And also, it's not very capital intensive to begin with, at least. You can always be more yeah, right? So, if I had to start over today, I would still probably pick this industry. I think it's a great way to learn about other businesses and about real problems and how it gets solved.
It's kind of, bro, like how you gonna start? What you gonna, what's, what will be your first step? You gonna search something, you gonna approach businesses, ask them what their problems are. What you gonna do in particular?
To start a business today.
Yes, right now.
I would sit down and talk to a lot of people and read a lot. Read about everything I can get my hands on. Let's say I want to form, before entering any market, I want to read trade journals. I want to talk to investors who invest in that market. I want to talk to people who operate in that market. I want to talk to every level of person that operates. So all the way from the owner of a business, like I'm starting out in the oil and gas industry. I'll go and talk to the rig operator, the guy who runs the oil rig, the worker. I'll go talk to the middleman. I will go talk to the end consumer. And everyone in between. And I will then go talk to the guy who does the oil exploration. So everyone I can get my hands on. I will read the sell-side reports that banks and everything keep releasing about industries. I think that's a very good way of getting information. I will read about books that introduce me to the market. A lot of publications, magazines, papers, scientific papers, all of the stuff. I will form an opinion about what that market is really, how it works, what are the gaps in that market, and where exactly I could provide value, right? I would, and so talk to a lot of people and cooks.
How you gonna reach the people? Because on LinkedIn, how?
Yeah, everything at your disposal. LinkedIn, if you know people, your friends, if you know connections, anything and everything, right? Cold email.
Always works.
Anything.
Where do you see yourself personally 5 years from now? As a, grown-up man, where do you think you might be? Your personality might be different. You might be, I have a lot of learning.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself as a?
I see myself as a person.
Kind of broad question, but you're like trying to say, instead of business, see where you see yourself. Like, where do you want to see as a person? You want to be someone. I mean, it's up to you. Just anything you want to add to it.
I think I don't like attaching tags or like making definite predictions, but directionally I can tell you I want to be way more wiser. I want to know more of myself in the process and what comes out of me, what I like, what I dislike, and those are things that develop over time. And I want to continue solving big problems for businesses. I think that would give me a sense of satisfaction, and I want to be a person who just is really good at what he does, and then so good and so experienced in a season that other people can rely on me and just say, oh, it's Yuvraj, no worries, like that's it. And then obviously I want to grow a lot as a person, but also even my company, right? And I want to make it a really good place for people to work and for us to do a lot of cutting edge stuff. So cool things.
Also, one more question. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs. They start the startup after 2-3 years, working 5 years, let's say 10 years.
Yeah.
They go for IPOs. They even, let's say, sell their startup to a big tech company, have 50 million, 100.
I want to be the big tech company.
Okay. So yeah. So basically, my question actually was like, they end up becoming a VC? They end up, they don't start their own company. After that, they will sit down, use their money, and then bet on the different businesses. Because also, even my professor who is taking the course, he's like, I myself, I started my company, but he's saying to us that I'll never recommend and I never start my own startup company again, because such a really you need to
The process.
Yes, it's like you learn a lot of stuff, but you work-life balance and everything, it's gone. You need to work 24/7. And so it's like, instead of that, I'll sit down, I'll see different people who are, founders, I'll bet them right founders, and I'll get a, my ROI would be crazy. Because, if you bet on early stage, early stage, let's say venture, and then you see, it has a, really good potential. I should invest on the right founders, and then you get a crazy ROI.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Do you think in the period you would be investing in the startups after 5 years?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. So this was it. This was it, guys. Anything you want to add? Anything you want our users to know?
Users, mind that. After looking 2 hours to whisper guy, customer users, all these things are, in my mind right now to our audience.
Please give him any applause, Professor.
Please. I'm working so hard.
Please, Rafan. Okay, that's it though. Nothing else.
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot for seeing our podcast. This was my first podcast.
Yeah, thanks, sir. See you again.